Hey, welcome back to my page. How are you guys? I hope all is well. I hope your family's good. I hope your wealth is good and everything is prosperous in this year so far for you and in this week, of course. So, if you don't know who I am, it's your girl, Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. Every week, we discuss pop culture, commentary, and just anything that I think is something that will bring positivity to us, but also can be discussed in a political way, in a motivational way that I think we can get some information from. So that's what we do here each week. Um, where I basically we talk about cultural commentary, hot topics, and much, much, much more. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I come on each week and we do weekly lives and we discuss what's going on in pop culture. We have a really fun show today because we got a lot going on, but every week, a little bit of progress. Speaking of progress, let me tell you about some progress that we have this morning. So last night, Sinners came in and big success because Ryan Coogler won Best Screenplay. And I love this particular picture because if you notice, he has a microphone. I got a microphone on the brain, sorry. If you notice in this picture, he has a guitar or a music symbol of some sort in his hair. So the second picture nearest to me, there's a tiny guitar, and the little musical sign in the back is in the back of his head. Bravo. And this song was really enriched in music for him because it was music that related to him being with his uncle who had passed away. So Ryan Coogler, if you don't know the story, was inspired to write this film shortly after his uncle who loved Mississippi blues, who introduced him to that, passed away. So he was really sad about it because he was filming another movie and he was unable to attend and be there for his uncle in his last days. And this uncle was extremely paramount in his life. So he took all that pain, and this is kind of a love letter to his uncle. And as he was sitting there, thinking about the music and listening to the music, he realized like how similar grunge blues is to, how similar blues is and Mississippi blues is to grunge rock. And he said, "Oh my God, there's a connection here." And then as he listening to the blues music, he started listening to the pain and the turmoil they were going through, which was to him similar to rap music. So he just had an aha moment, and he figured, how can I streamline these stories into one thing? And that's how we got Sinners. So it's really a love letter to it. And I also think a part of him is Smoke and his uncle is Stack, right? Like, or vice versa. So, or even maybe Delroy, in a sense, is his uncle sacrificing himself for the greater good. So there is a lot of him in this movie, and the movie is essentially a love letter to his uncle and essentially to Black America, because a lot of us share the same tumultuous past where we've kind of been in the ashes and came through like the phoenix, right? So it's just a beautiful tale when you think about it in that light and in that way. So congratulations to Ryan Coogler. And I mean, it was a couple of big wins. We also had Michael B. Jordan win too last night at the Oscars. And Michael B. Jordan went on to win uh best actor in a leading role, which made me extremely proud as a Black woman, as a Jersey girl, as someone that has been rooting for Michael B. Jordan for a very long time. This couldn't have come at a better time for La Cultura, for the culture, you know what I mean? And I think as a Black woman, just seeing how Michael B. Jordan winning best lead actor is now amongst the great, like Denzel Washington, like Sidney Poitier, and all those. I don't think, has Will Smith won yet? Yes, Will Smith now, when he won for the Serena Williams movie, which we ain't gonna talk about that. So it seems like now Michael is at peace because he's worked so hard to get to where he is now, and he's always wanted to be where he is. And I'm just really, really, really proud of him. So just bravo. It's just been a blessing and a beautiful story. I told you guys in my, I think 2 lives ago, that I actually knew Michael B. Jordan, and that my experience with him has been one of like just positivity. He's always been just an amazing young man. This is him here, accepting his award. And here he is in deep contemplation. You can see here. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's just, I'm just proud. It just makes you really proud to be a Black woman, and proud to see how far that we've come as a society. So hopefully we can get away from this whole Oscar so white thing. Oh, let me go here. We'll get away from this whole Oscar so white or Grammy so white or whatever it is, and we'll continue on this path to allow people to be seen, all of us, to be able to be seen, be heard, and be recognized and get recognition in front of our peers. So bravo to you, Michael. I'm really so proud of you as a Jersey girl. From one Jersey girl to one Jersey guy, I'm so proud of you. And I wish you all the best, all the continued success in this life and in the next. God bless you. Next up, someone who isn't winning an award or doing so great is the Breakfast Club. So I don't know if you've heard about what's going on with the Breakfast Club, but the Breakfast Club had moved its content over to Netflix because they did a deal with Netflix. And within that, what happened was they were unable to successfully transition its viewers over to Netflix. And we talked about this too, when I talked about how Fox News, um how Fox, not just Fox News, how Fox created its network based on Black eyeballs within living color. Remember that with Keenan Ivory Wayans and the Super Bowl, and you and I, we talked about all this. And I also did last year, I did an expose on Roland Martin, and then Roland Martin discusses this as well, where he talks about how Black eyeballs are very, like they kind of allow people to build networks. And right now you'll see that with Zeus Network, you'll see that with Tubi. First they have these like downtrodden Black shows that they then transition into these big corporate entities like Fox, which like Tubi, and so on and so forth. So they've done, or even like the CW or the UPN, they'll start with these Black shows, but then eventually they'll pan off from us, and they'll continue to invest the big dollars, a la In Living Single and Friends. So you see that time and time again. So Netflix is trying to take that same route, and they're trying to get the Black eyeballs onto Netflix consistently, because right now the way people watch Netflix, even myself, is I will watch it, but then when there's something I don't want to see, I might not watch it for a good month or two. Like I watch Love Is Blind, I watch The Circle. I'll watch. I have a few recommendations at the end of this video for Netflix too. We'll talk about a few of their shows at the right coming right up actually. But I watch those shows that we're gonna discuss and more, and then I'm done. So they want consistent eyeballs every day on this app, and the best way to do that is through the Black eyes, right? To get our viewership over there. Once we're consistent over there, then they can use that consistency to jumpstart the rest of the channel. And so that's how they are trying to do. So what happened was Charlemagne basically said that we lazy and we'll come sign up for Netflix to watch Stranger Things and this and this and this, but why won't we come watch The Breakfast Club? Because what they lack over at Netflix, and maybe they'll create this later, is the camaraderie, the social part of it. We need to be able to read the comments and see what people are saying about your crazy behind, Charlamagne. What people are saying about DJ's Envy headline. What they saying about just a Hilarious and her transphobia. We don't just want to watch it by ourselves. The Breakfast Club is like a barbershop. It's like a communal environment where we enjoy watching what's going on with you guys via the comments. So it's like we're not just watching you guys for you. Sorry to this man, but we're watching it for us. We're watching it for our own personal entertainment as well. So that's why it's very important that when you are making business decisions, you don't just think about yourself, but you think about how it would affect your community as well, right? It's not me, it's we. Speaking of, there's a documentary about WeWorks that I was watching the other day. That was their slogan. And that thing at the end of the day was all about him. It had nothing to do with nobody else. He was, anyway, we can get into that another day. But yes, that's another thing. Like if you're not careful, you will turn into a WeWorks. And if Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club and Envy are not careful, they'll end up in the same boat as like a WeWorks, where they'll put their eggs in one basket. Next thing you know, they'll be collapsing. So you can see here it says, Charlamagne says the Breakfast Club is not alone in making the move. Hip hop program Rory and Mal has also shifted to its content to the platform, and both shows have experienced a measurable drop in online engagement and viral clip activity since the transition. For the Breakfast Club, the numbers tell a stark story. The Power 105 YouTube page drew 27 million views in February of 2025. 1 year later, that figure has fallen to 13 million, a decline directly tied to the Netflix deal. And this is so important. And I know Charlamagne is saying we need to just get on Netflix, but he doesn't understand the rotation. And while I do think it's nice for them to want to distinguish themselves from general YouTube pages like my own, or like Kempire, or like Tasha K, or like my favorite FD Signifier, but also they have to contend in the new structural landscape that we are in. And if you, whether you like it or not, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, they done got with the program. They left their programs, they're on YouTube, and they're building faster than ever. And Charlamagne should have appreciated where what he had, and made a deal, or not just Charlamagne, the company, because you know it's not just Charlamagne, it's actually iHeart. That's who funds them. So iHeart should have thought about this and thought about what the viewers wanted before they made decisions for the viewer. So with that, I wish Charlamagne the best. I wish Envy the best. I wish the Breakfast Club the best in general. But we'll see what comes of this and what pans out for them. But we'll see. But that's what's going on with the Breakfast Club. If you haven't, let me know your thoughts below. And guys, if you haven't already, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This is a lot of work to come on here and do these little bits for you guys. So we're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please like the live so that I can get into other people's algorithms. Because if you like it here, somebody else will like it here too. So I heard about this topic and I wanted to talk a little bit about it.
Being their friend because
so this particular topic regarding jealous friends. I don't know if you guys have you guys heard about this at all? Let me just check out my sound audio.
Or dismiss what I will say. There's a difference between somebody acknowledging different life experiences versus feeling resentment. Said something along the lines of the more the friend talked about her life and was happy with her life, it made her think about her own. Someone else's happiness becomes a mirror of the gap between where we are and where we wish we were. When that gap feels big, those emotions can be uncomfortable or more privileged. They may have more opportunities, but there'll always be someone else whose life looks like what we wish we had. The goal isn't to pretend like you never feel jealous, but you got to figure out what those feelings are trying to tell you. Are you grieving?
Since all of a sudden you bitches have never experienced jealousy or never been jealous, explain the behavior. It don't add up. Who remembers back in 2013 when Kelly Rowland admitted in her song Dirty Laundry that she was experiencing jealousy? Jealousy of her best friend that she admired so much.
Explain the behavior. If y'all bitches not jealous, explain.
My best friend's first car was an Audi A6 while my parents drove Toyota Camrys. Okay, so like I was not on that level at all. Still, I've never been rich, but I was still privileged by being in those environments, right? And so when you were in an environment of privileged spaces where there's such a disparity between wealth, it's not wealthy to poor, but it's wealthy to like lower middle class. There's gonna be some jealousy. Merit Beauty, hello. And like the creator said, jealousy does not mean that I don't want someone to have what they have, but it can also mean that I want what you have. I want to.
So this was very interesting to me. And two, this is the original creator here. And she essentially said that she was dealing with jealousy within the friendship, but as a jealous friend, which we don't really hear that perspective that often. We usually hear the other way where the friend has a jealous friend. And that's what I've been hearing in the comment. I made a comment on someone else who did a full breakdown of this, and I put everybody has had the jealous friend, but nobody's been the jealous friend. Somebody lying. And the amount of comments that I got that I've never been a jealous friend. I didn't say that. A hit dog gonna holler. And I obviously understand the point of like we don't want to normalize jealous behavior. We don't want to normalize certain, aspects of how things can pan out if you aren't careful in these types of friendships. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that this young girl is only 21 years old, and maybe the internet is in a safe space and she should have talked to her therapist about this, but she did come to the internet and she is really young. And I would hate for something to happen to her feeling really insecure on top of the jealousy she already told us she had. So that's how I feel. I just feel like we should have come at her with a little bit more compassion instead of all these think pieces about how she's evil and it's a deadly sin and she's this and that. I hate that topic for her because she is a young person. She's 21 years old, maybe 22, and she came with a vulnerable topic that people are extremely scared to admit. And like I said, if everybody has a jealous friend, but nobody's jealous, then you get mad at the person who admits that they're jealous. How can we heal? You heal from conversation and discussion. You don't say, oh my God, you should have said this. I'm gonna shame you back into hiding from the fact that you have jealous tendencies. You discuss and actually maybe study her and like learn more from her why she felt that way and how you can help other people, because all humanity is about helping and guiding and allowing humans to grow and change. So you don't think that a jealous friend can turn into a non-jealous friend? You think that's just innately who you are at 21 years old? I don't think that. I think that, and that's my whole purpose. Whether or not you've been the jealous friend, you've had a jealous friend, I'm not here to debate that. I'm here to debate the fact that people are allowed to have growth and should not be shamed for things that they cannot control in themselves. Things that these are actual emotions she felt, and she's here expressing that she felt those. Maybe like the internet is in a safe space to say these things, fine. But she said it and she's here. And I feel like we could be dealing with her in a lot more gentle way than the people are dealing with her. And it comes off extremely self-righteous and extremely perfect. Okay, you might have not had the sin of jealousy, but have you ever had the sin of gluttony? Have you ever had the sin of lust? There are several sins. This is not the worst sin that there ever was. Have you ever had the sin of rage, wrath? Like and that's in the Bible too, right? Like we're talking about this thing of sin, but it said let he without sin cast the first stone. So all of you, I've never been jealous, but you've had other sins. You've had other sins. So you get stoned for your sin. You'll get stoned for your sin. And that's just how I feel about this. I'm not really here for the jealous conversations. topic necessarily, but I just want people to have grace for people who do talk about imperfections and things that they struggle with, who have struggles, and I want there to be a space for people not to get shamed and humiliated for this thing that they felt in their life. And that's something I don't want, because even the most heinous of crimes, when they're in rehabilitation facilities, aka jails, they still have to go to rehab classes. Whether or not they work, what, that's not for me to judge, that's for God to judge. But they still have to take those classes, right? No matter the heinous crime. So even so, somebody who has jealousy at 21 years old, surely, who hasn't acted in a violent way, but just come on the internet expressing emotional turmoil and clearly from a place of trauma, they should have a space of adults treating them with more grace. And it's like old ass, anyway, it's older women who are the most volatile towards her. And I don't like that. And this is somebody born on the same day as Selena. And my mom used to always say I have Selena syndrome, because a lot of people can be jealous in a sense. And I just be like, la da, because what they eat don't make me ish, right? And at the end of the day, when you're young, you do go through those moments. Selena was only 23 years old. I'm sure a 33-year-old Selena, a 43-year-old Selena would have recognized a Yolanda, because it seemed like everybody else around her did. And yes, we might put ourselves in Selena syndrome situations, and that can be very tumultuous to us. But this is not that, because somebody like a Yolanda would never, to this day, admit that she was jealous of Selena. This young girl was able to recognize, reflect, and look at the man in the mirror. And that is a sign of intellect and maturity. And I actually appreciate her for opening up the conversation for this conversation. And the one guy in the video with the bald head, the black guy who was talking about the Kelly Rowland of it all, that should be also a good lesson to you. Because if you think about Beyonce and Kelly Rowland and how pure and beautiful their friendship is, and even amongst that, there was that internal jealousy. Dirty laundry, dirty laundry. If you don't know the song he talked about, is Dirty Laundry. Kelly, she talked about how she was jealous of Beyonce at one point because her life was declining and Beyonce's was on the higher trajectory. And people do that. Even the perfect, most beautiful, honorable, notable Kelly Rowland, with all that she has, all that she is, had that feeling of jealousy. Would you have bashed Kelly Rowland the way you're bashing this 21-year-old little girl? Just take stock in how you're showing up and how you're treating people, because that is so important when you're dealing with individuals and dealing and having that one-to-one. That's how they want us. They want us heartless, cold, and humaneless. We have to have humility and we have to have love. My mother always say, you can share your truth with love. And that's what we have to do. And the internet is just become a very ugly place. And that's why I'm here to try to create some equilibrium and bring some humanity back to a place that I don't know if necessarily deserves it, but that's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to hold a light. So we'll move on. Speaking of Miss Beyonce and a messy man, let's go get into it.
I had a chance to date Beyonce, early on, and I ended up talking to the other girl inside of, Destiny, the girl with the blue eyes. And I remember Beyonce looking over at me, and I think that's why she picked me to do that dance, the kind of striptease dance that we did at the BETs or whatever, to show me what I had lost, but I was attracted. There was a moment in which I felt something there. But,
with Beyonce.
Yeah, but that was long before she was with Jay-Z. That was very, very long ago.
Oh my gosh. So that, as you can see, was Terrence Howard discussing how he and Beyonce had once had a rendezvous, apparently, according to his mind, and he felt like he could have gotten Beyonce. Y'all think he could have got with Beyonce? I think no, he could not. I don't know if he would have actually been able to get with Beyonce, but I do think he is a handsome guy. Like, there's no doubting that. And I do think that him and Beyonce had a nice little situation. Where was that little clip of him uh acting? Oh yeah, there you go. He was in it. I'm talking about in it. He was living his life, and he talking about he tried to. I'm assuming that the blue-eyed girl is Farrah. Now he know he messy for this one. He brought this out the archives. He just want. It's like when you. It's like how we talk about like knowing Jamie or getting Jamie Foxx to Ray thing, Mike B. Joy. Sometimes you just want people to know that you was there in the beginning. And this is one of those situations. He was so happy to tell the story, but it was a cute story. What do you guys think of this? Do you think Terrence Howard had a shot with Beyonce? Do you think that he was able to bag her back in the day and he dropped her for Farrah? Or do you think this is just a figment of his imagination? Let me know in the comments, because I thought this was hilarious. And Terrence, though, he was fine back in the day. Yeah, he was fine. You can't deny that. But whether or not this story is true, I don't know. But if it is true, she was giving it to him. Talking about it. Anyway, that was a cute little story that I thought was going on. Off to the next one. We're gonna talk a little bit about Love is Blind. This is gonna be kind of rapid fire because I do have to get out of here. I thought I had more time. I might do a part 2 live later. I know you guys hate when I do that, but it'd be like that. I tried to get on earlier, but you know the technical difficulties. So let's get into Love is Blind, the reunion. So the show was, I would give it like an 8. Or actually, maybe 8.5, because I thought I was thoroughly entertained. However, I do feel like they were just doing a lot. Like, I feel like with um this couple right here. hmm You see what Nick said about it? Nick said that you guys, wow, you guys are nauseatingly perfect. And look at his face. Look at his wife. Like, no, you did not just say that. Oh, yes, he did. And it's so true. So we're talking about Vic and Christina. So apparently, I got a little bit more information about this, which I found very interesting. So essentially, what happened with Vic and Christine is that they were not in the original 6 group. What happened was they were in the let me try to change this around so you can see me a little bigger, because okay, so that's better. So what happened was, in the original setup with Vic and Christine, they were supposed to um not really be on the show. And this is according to Vic. They just did an interview, and they talked about this a little bit. So piecing together what they said on the podcast versus what they're saying on the show, I kind of can gather what happened. Excuse me. So what happened was, when they were suggesting that there's 6 couples, because you notice there's 7 couples this year. Usually there's only 6 that goes to Cabo, and they picked those 6. This is according to Vic, that had intermingling topics that can kind of come together. So with that in mind, they decided to forego on Christina and Vic because they saw they had a good bond and they didn't have any other connections outside the pods. Like, they were locked in, and they were, ain't no switching up. So they let them go, and they pick, which is also a sentiment that you can tell they allow the messier couples to stay in the house, which I don't really like. So that's why we didn't see Vic and Christine in the apartments. That's why we didn't see them go to Cabo. So I mean, so on and so forth, right? So they end up sending them to Malibu as like a consolation, because they were keeping an eye on them, and Vic and Christina were going to elope. And I guess by the end of the Cabo trip, they looked and saw that these couples probably weren't going to make it, right? So especially with Alex and Devo, they could definitely tell. And Chris, and they just, you could tell. What we saw is what they saw. So they saw it before we saw it. So they reached out to Chris and Vic. This is according to Vic, and he said, "Hey," they said, "Hey, um." we're thinking about bringing you guys on to the show. Would you guys want to come back and film? And we want to film your honeymoon. We want to gift you a honeymoon and film your honeymoon. So they said, oh, wow, okay. So they decided to do that. So that's why we picked up at the honeymoon with them, because they weren't in the initial 7. PR pick. But they were in the pods. A lot of people even think they were just handpicked and weren't even in the pods. They were in the pods. They just were handpicked from the producers following these other 6 and realizing they needed a 7th. Okay, because they like somebody said this and I can't remember where I got it from, but it's like a video, it's like a game show, right? Like at the end of these shows you have to win a prize. And if you're thinking about it with that concept in mind, like at the end of Survivor, you win a prize. At the end of Big Brother, you win a prize. At the end of The Circle that I mentioned on Netflix, you win a prize. At the end of Love Island, you win a prize. And even though they don't get a monetary prize, the monetary prize is the cost of the wedding that they would usually have to pay for, right? On their own. The monetary prize is the trips, things like that. So they still have to have a winner at the end, and the winner is the people who get that TurboTax gift for another vacation that Vic and Christina got. That's the win, right? The win is the brand. The win is being the face of this season, and this is a big season. This is season 10, right? Just like Real Housewives of Potomac. This had to be bang or bust. Season 10. You know, they don't. When you have season 10, you got to show up. So they needed this season to be very impactful. And while they did have a bang, they cast some amazing people, terrible people, but amazing for TV and entertainment. So they knew what they were doing, but at the end of the day, they still wanted to get love at the end. And the only people they can get that from and garner that from was uh Vic and Christina, unfortunately for them in their situation. So they got Christina and Vic. Midway, they were already back at work. They're already back in their lives, and so that's why we were seeing what we were seeing. And I forgot what they said. Christina was living in one place, and he was living in another place, close but not too close. But so they had to drive to each other. That's why they were meeting in random places like parks and things like that. You get it? And that's why the parents didn't meet them, because they weren't along for that journey until they were at the wedding. And that's why we didn't meet Christina's dad until basically they just basically said they just met the daddy. So they didn't have time to track them because they picked them up at the end just so we can have a proper show. And so, I mean, my theories are confirmed now. I feel very satisfied with knowing that, because I feel like I can clock a real one from a mile away. And while they may be in love and there may be some realness there in terms of what they feel about one another, it isn't real in the sense of what we consider real. So it felt kind of inauthentic. And I think we saw that, and it felt too perfect. And I think we saw that. And what I will give them is they are a real couple. They just happen to be one of those ones. And Netflix saw that, grabbed it, and put it on TV for us. And as a viewer, it turned out and looked inauthentic and overproduced, because it was. So not the love, but just the production of it, and the rash and the fastness, the quickness of it was inauthentic. So that's why it came off like that. So if you guys were wondering, there you are. Let's move on to another couple that had a lot of people talking, which is Amber and Jordan.
Once again, I am being reminded, do not believe everything you see on your TV screen, especially when it comes to fucking Love is Blind. Because the stuff that is coming out about Amber and Jordan since the wedding episode dropped yesterday, first thing being that these two were not supposed to both say I do. No, 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 no. This was not supposed to be a marriage that was supposed to happen at the end. We also know, just from watching the episode, that Jordan did have concerns about them moving away from Columbus because he needed to be right in the heart of the night scene of Columbus, Ohio. And throughout the relationship, from what we saw, it does seem as if whenever there is tension, Amber is the one that likes to kind of shut off communication and not speak, and Jordan is the type of person that needs that communication and needs to speak. So that can be a big red flag in a relationship, let alone a marriage. Plus, you got to also take in the fact that coming on the show like Love is Blind when you have a daughter is already dicey enough, and that's a big gamble, especially when you only have a very limited time to figure your life out, and now you have to also include your daughter into the situation. now thinking about it, hindsight, yeah, there was a lot of odds stacked against these two for sure. But I still was, from what I was looking at, saw a couple that was genuinely in this for one another. Plus, Amber's speech, Amber's vows were funny and they were cute and heartfelt. But then you listen to Jordan's and you're like, that's it? You only said like 1.5 sentences, dude. What the fuck? And as we saw from the 15-second preview of the reunion, the woman that walks out at the end is Amber. Two also big reasons why the rumor is that these two are no longer together is one, Amber was just on a trip with Kia, Emma, Ashley, and one other individual. I can't think of her name at this very moment. I think it was Brittany. All the single girls from this season. And there's an article that just came out saying that 3 months after their wedding day was when they.
So you guys can see that was a lot of information. So I wanted to share that with you so you guys get a sense of what I said again last time in my live. I insinuated that what did I insinuate? Sorry. I insinuated that Jordan and Amber were also kind of a PR couple to get married on the show. Just in case Christina and Vic didn't show up, they had to have one couple get married. So this was my theory on my last live. I said there's going to be two couples that get married this year. I said one is going to be Christina and Vic, and the second is going to be a couple that was paid to get married. Okay. And what I meant by that is I can tell that nobody really wanted to get married. And I felt I was trying to think of who could be the most easily manipulated into being married. And unfortunately, to me, that was either Connor, which Connor didn't make it, or Jordan, right? And not necessarily paid, even like manipulation by staff saying you really love her, you really want to go through this. Because at this point, they may or may not know if Christina and Vic are going to go to the altar. They have to have one of the originals get married, right, in order to validate the show. So I think that's what happened. I think was like that's why Amber's brother was like, "Oh no, you guys aren't going to get married. Like it's fine if he says no," because he already kind of knew, everybody probably knew. And I think that's why we had that big roar and stand of ovation when they did decide to get married, because everyone knew that the love was just not there in the way it was supposed to be. Everyone knew that while Amber really loved um Jordan was not necessarily in it because he felt like it was just too much responsibility, particularly pertaining to Emma's daughter and being a father. Like he did not want to be a dad in the way that Amber wanted him to be a dad. And unfortunately for both of them, while I think there was love there and attraction there, I do feel like they were a little bit of a mismatch in the end because of the lifestyles that they each wanted. Whereas Amber obviously already had stability and wanted to sustain, and him moving to the suburbs with her, which is a few minutes outside of Cleveland, Ohio, versus him, he wanted to be in the epicenter in the center of the city, which for Amber obviously is not a lifestyle she could have at this point because she has her daughter. And so with that discrepancy, I knew that there was a chance that they may have not make it down the altar, but I was rooting for them and I was really truly hoping for the best. So I was a little sad that they didn't make it, but also I totally understand why. And I felt like, they'll be amicable, but I don't think they'll ever be friends or rekindle anything because they just want totally different things. What JT said, we live totally two different lives, and this is a perfect example of that, unfortunately. So that's what it was with Amber. I did want to talk a little bit more about Amber when it comes to Amber's role with the other Brittany. So the other Brittany, I don't know if you guys, let me see. Do I have the picture here? And I don't know if you know. Let me add the picture. I had a picture of Brittany. Oh, here's a good one. So if you guys noticed that Amber and Brittany really had a bond with one another, which was really beautiful. You see them here on the couch together, very close. And I noticed that bond when they were on the couch and like they kept touching each other's arms and like really encouraging. But I didn't notice that they had this connection in the show. So I was like, oh, they must have gotten really close during their time together. But what we found out is that Amber really showed up for Brittany during this time. So while some viewers, saw Amber as a badass when she stood up to the men, because if you don't know, we found out from uh Amber when she had her moment with we found out from Bree when she had her moment with Devontae, which we'll get into in just a second, that there was this girls' trip. She found out about the girls' trip from Amber. So while some people thought it was a badass move that she stood up to the other men, others found her behavior toxic and erratic, right? Some viewers noted that unlike the trio, which we'll get into, the Priyanka of it all, and the Ashley of it all, and the Brittany of it all, Amber seemed to have just as back, acting with more class, while the others found her to be a little bit messy. I love that she was a girl's girl. I love that she stood up for Jessica. I love that she stood up for Brittany. And I just wanted to give her her flowers for being a badass mama and being a true girl's girl. To me, one of the only girls on the show. And I just love how, even outside of her relationship and outside of Jordan of it all, I just wanted to give Amber her flowers as a beautiful, badass, bomb ass mamacita, because I feel like she showed up and showed out. And I feel like she's such a good representation of what a true girl's girl looks like. So let's just jump right into, oh, they took my picture down. Let me go see if I can find it. I had a cute little picture of this baddie right here. I got on. There she go. Yay. Okay. So you can see the beautiful Brittany. I wanted to start her segment with her own photo, a solo photo, and just let's admire her beauty for a second, right? Look how beautiful this doll baby is. He could never. How could he? And I just hate that she don't see what we see. Do you see what I see? No, she does not, unfortunately. And she gave the troll under the bridge too much power this season. Just looking, let's get into it. Come on. Look at the material. And I hope and pray, this is my prayer for her, right? Just like we gave Amber her flowers, I'm going to give Brittany hers. You are smart, you are intelligent, you are beautiful, you are kind, you are loved, you are loving. Please, if you ever see my video from obscurity, that you take heed to that and you know that you are her, you are the one, you are the light, you are the lamb, you are what God has put into this life to be a light to others, and you are that girl. Don't let no man take it from you, because no man has given it to you. And I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart, that we see you, we love you, and we love how you represented Black women this season, multiracial women this season. And I'm very proud of you and how you showed up and showed out. Brown skin girl, skin just like pearls. Mwah, chef's kiss. So that's that. Enough glazing. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the stories, because this leads me to the next big couple, which is them. I have Hermit the Frog and Princess Tiana. No, I'm just joking. I have Devontae and Bree here. Of Devonta, I call him Fanta Devonta because he called himself Devo, which is his alter ego. I found because Brittany did an interview with the Vow Files, and in it she talked about Devontae having multiple personalities, and one of those personalities is Devo. So I'm gonna add a new personality, which is Devonta. Devonta, because that is exactly what he was giving to me. It was giving diva. You rather unique. You think you all that. You think you cute, but you up here looking like Sid from Ice Age. You think you all that in a bag of chips, but you up here looking like you belong in it. I ain't even gonna say. I can get nasty. Nice nasty though, of course. So we're not gonna get into that. But let's get into the story and the meat and potatoes. So what happened between Britt and Devontae is Britt tells him off, clean off, babes. Like she couldn't. She was basically saying like you couldn't be there for me. You lied to me. When it came down to breaking up at that last scene that we saw, she was getting something completely different from him. She was essentially telling in a nice way. She didn't curse him out and be nasty or whatever. She was just very like concerned with how his treatment of her came off, and she basically was telling him like how you've done me is so wrong. I would never have done you that way. And the dad jumped in. This is Britt's dad, and he came in and he was basically saying, why didn't you break up with her sooner? She gave you 5 times to break up and you chose not to. Like you chose to be a coward in the moment. And look at him. This is his face. He looked like he about to choke. And honey, and so he was basically said, well, I guess I don't quit. And the dad said to him, it's not about quitting and not quitting. It's about you standing up and making a commitment to something and keeping your word to it. Essentially saying to him, your word is your fucking bond. Remember back in the day, you used to say that my word is my bond. Like that's what the dad was essentially saying to him. A man's word is all they have. And because you can't stand on the power of your words, you are not a man, and you're definitely not ready for marriage, and you're definitely not ready to be with my daughter. And he gave him a lashing with love. Remember I talked about earlier, my mom used to say, tell your truth with love. This is a perfect example of that in real time. He shared his truth with love. So the dad also said he couldn't be a husband to his daughter because he was not showing up in the full capacity for his daughter. And for me, I feel like this goes back to what I said in my last live about Bree having that overflow of love, and that's why she sometimes doesn't see the red flags, because when you are loved properly at home, you tend to give and pour your love out when you're not in the safety of your own environment, in the safety of your own home. And I think that's what we saw here with Bree. She had an outpouring of love. Now, at the end of this segment, we did have a bomb drop by Devonta Fanta, and I feel like he was very happy about what happened. Like he, in his mind, he think he ate because he dropped the bomb that he was engaged and he was a dad. And you saw Britt's dad just go, just in disappointment, because you can just tell that he knows that he's not ready to be a dad. He's like not mature enough to go back to his point. You can't even commit, and now come to find out, which we'll talk about this a little later, you're living with a man that is homeless. You're living with the homosexual, Alex, instead of living with your baby mama slash fiance. You're living with your best friend, but we'll get into that. And I just wrote this down. I said, Lord, break the cycle. Devontae is not ready to be somebody's dad. But I digress because it's not my business. But that's what I tweeted. If you guys don't follow me on Blue Sky, I tweeted that the other day. Sometimes I watch live and I'm tweeting or posting on Blue Sky as I'm living. I don't know what they call it, Blue Sky, flittering, because butterflies, they not tweeting. I'm fluttering over on all my, flutters on Blue Sky. So make sure you follow me there. I am on all the platforms. Let me put my tags up. So make sure you follow me over on Blue Sky if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe to me here if you aren't already subscribed to me here on YouTube. We're trying to get to 2K followers. I appreciate that. We're trying to do that by the end of the year. So if you're watching, thank you for watching. So let's get back to this. So yes, and overall, I just feel like it was trying to be like a slight flex that he was engaged and trying to put it that it was Brittany, but Brittany said something really beautiful in her Val Foul interview. She said, everybody keeps saying he's treated me like this and doesn't like black women, but look how he treated the white women that he was previously engaged to in his life. So basically, he's dust. He's a dog regardless. It had nothing to do with her race, and it had everything to do with him being a dust mite and a dusty. And so now he done dust somebody else's daughter up, and hopefully she doesn't get too caught up in the mud and stuck in the mud with this guy, because he is no good, low down, and dirty, and he surely is not ready to be anybody daddy. But if he does become a dad, let's just pray that some of the things that Mr. Brittany taught him, he takes heed to, because this man laid it down and told him about himself in the nicest way. I never seen a read so nasty and so good. It was so good. It was so nice, nasty, just the way I like it. So anyway, guys, I think we're gonna end it here for now. And we're gonna end it on Bree. And I'll be back because I have to go make a run. So I'll be back and we'll finish up this live. We're gonna end it here with Bree. And I'll just say this, Bree. Remember who you are, whose you are, and that you are a child of the light. Don't allow the darkness to make you feel any type of way. You have been a beautiful rendition to this show. And I hope you see what we see and yourself, because you are that girl. And my favorite thing is you are the MVP of your life. You have to maintain your morals, your values, and your principles in this life. And I appreciate you showing up and showing out as yourself. So when I do my next live later today or maybe tomorrow, we'll see how the day goes. What we're going to do is we're going to finish up the Love is Blind reunion. We're going to talk about some new shows on Netflix that I've been really into, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of those things. If you guys stayed for the whole thing, thank you. Thank you. Put some purple hearts in the chat. I love you guys and appreciate it. So I'll see you guys hopefully later today. And if I don't see you later today, maybe give me about an hour or two and hopefully I can hop back on. If you don't see me later today, I got busy with motherhood and wifehood and the lifehood and all the things that is to be. Then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your girl, Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Bye. I hope you enjoyed today's live. It was a little chaotic, but we got the job done. I feel proud. I feel proud. And again, congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. Hey. And Ryan Coogler. Hey. And Tiana Taylor. Hey. Hey. All right, girl. I'll see you guys next time. And girls and boys. Peace. Bye, guys.